Hey guys, this is Steve here, the Exterior Magician. Welcome back. Today we've got a deck tech for Ragavan, the Nimble Pilferer, and we're going to build him on a budget. He is so cool. Such a cool, manky pirate. He's a pirate monkey pirate. Anyway, he's really flavorful. He's a 1-drop, 2/1, and he is not a cheap card. He's like a $70, $80 card, and today we're going to build a whole deck. The whole deck to include Ragavan is going to be around $150. And let's look at him. Our goal today is to steal everything and throw it at him. In the picture you can see that he's got like a vase there, he's got like a mirror, he's got some fruit, and he's gonna throw, it looks like a grenade at your face. Super cool. Alright, 1 red, 2/1. When Ragavan, Nimble Pilferer, deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and exile the top card of that player's library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. What? Dash. For 1 red, 1 colorless, you may cast this spell for its dash cost. If you do, it gains haste, and it's returned from the battlefield to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. So let's talk about this guy. 1, he's stealing cards from the top of your opponent's library. You can cast them with these treasure tokens that we're creating, but only until end of turn. However, Ragavan's really flimsy, so if he dies, then what are we going to do with him? Well, he's going to go back to the command zone. Instead of costing 1, he costs 3. Well, he's not nearly as good whenever he costs 3, or whenever he costs 5. But, however, this dash mechanic gets around the commander's tax, because we can have him, instead of going to, whenever we dash him, we can have him go, instead of going back to the command zone, he'll go back to our hand. And then we can dash him out every turn. And so for 2 mana, we get Ragavan out, and we start smacking people. So we're going to start stealing stuff off the top of people's libraries, and there's going to be people at the player that just haven't played anything yet. And so Ragavan is going to start getting like cards from the top of their library until they can find a way to bolt him or deal with him. And it's super not easy. All right, so the deck is running about 23 copies of a card called Act of Treason, which is about a 3-drop, 1 red, 2 colors, gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap that creature, it gains haste. We have 23 different versions of this effect. We have Besmirch, we have Goat Nap, we have Harnessed by Force, which can steal 2 target creatures if we pay 6, 3 target creatures if we pay 9. We have Kari Zev's Expertise, which will gain control of target, which is super flavorful because there you see in her picture, there's Ragavan hanging out on her shoulder. Lose Calm will gain control. This is a 4-drop. So we have tons of these gain control of target creature effects. We also have some that will gain control of multiple creatures, like Mass Mutiny will gain control of a creature for each opponent we control. And then Mob Rule will either gain control of all creatures power 4 or greater, or power 3 or less. And that way we can get the huge board presence. Well, what are we going to do with all of these? Well, first we're going to steal them. We're going to smack our opponents with them. But we're not going to give them back. I don't want to give things back once I've stolen them. So we've got 23 ways of doing some kind of Act of Treason effect. We've also got 16 ways of sacrificing these creatures that we've stolen. With Thud, it costs 1 mana. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sack a creature. Thud deals damage equal to sacrifice creature's power to any target. So we're going to steal your commander, sack your commander, kill somebody else's commander, all for 4 mana. It makes me happy. Then we also have Fleeing, which will do the same thing to any target. Then we also have things like Goblin Bombardment, which we can sack over and over and over again. This one's really important because it doesn't have a cost. It just says sacrifice. It doesn't have a mana cost associated. It just says sack a creature, Goblin Bombardment, deals 1 damage to any target. So if we take Mob Rule, and still let all the big creatures on the board go swinging, then at the end of combat with Goblin Bombardment, we can sack every creature that we stole, which is going to be a bunch of creatures, and then just shoot things to death. It's so good. Next up, we have another sack outlet that I wanted to mention, Thermopod. Sack a creature, add 1 red mana to your mana pool. This is a really fun effect. It's repeatable. Again, we can use this as many times as we want with Mob Rule. or Mass Mutiny, or any of the ones that we're spending a lot of, we're gaining a lot of creatures. Next up, we have Tavern Scoundrel. Tavern Scoundrel is really cool. So it's a 2-drop 1/3. Whenever you flip a coin, create 2 treasure tokens. We've also got like a small artifact theme going on with like treasure tokens and artifacts in general. It says 1 mana, sack another permanent, so we can sack those creatures that we've been gaining control of. Flip a coin. So if we win the flip, great, we get 2 treasures. If we don't win the flip, we just sacked their permanent. We don't care anyway. But that's important because now with things like, where is it? Academy Manufactor, 3-drop, if you create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create 1 of each. So our Tavern Scoundrel can end up creating a food, clue, and a treasure. Pretty cool. Additionally, that will work with Ragavan himself because Ragavan makes treasure tokens. So Academy Manufactor and Ragavan go hand in hand. Next up, we have another way of making some treasure tokens with Captain Lannery. She'll go and make them whenever she attacks. Whenever you sack a treasure token, she gets bigger. Next up, we have another way of using our tons and tons of artifacts, and we won't sacrifice them this way, is we can tap 2 artifacts to deal 1 damage to any target creature or player. It doesn't get planeswalkers, which is useful because now we can tap our treasures, our food, or our clues to just deal damage to something. So we can start like clearing the board of small things. Next up, we have Goblin Engineer, which is really cool because he'll go and search a library for an artifact card and put it into our graveyard. Well, he has 1 mana, tap, sack an artifact, return target artifact card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. We have some cool artifacts that will, a lot of them repeatably, a couple of them repeatably sack. So Calling Dice will sack a creature, put charge counters on it, which will eventually give us some draw. Witch's Oven will sack a creature, create a food token. If we have Academy Manufacturer, now we're creating treasures, foods, and clues with Witch's Oven. And then we can also get Soul Ring if we need it. We can get Relic Vial, which is going to sack creatures, draw cards. We have these 2 right here, Liquid Metal Coating and Liquid Metal Torque. Torque is just strictly better. It says add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. Tap, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. We don't have a whole lot of mana rocks. This is one of the few. And then it also has tap, target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. This is useful because now mono red doesn't have a lot of great ways of dealing with artifacts and planeswalkers and things like that. Oh, sorry, enchantments and planeswalkers. So we're going to turn their permanents into artifacts, and then we're going to destroy it. It says destroy target artifact. We've got Smash to Smithereens, and we've got Smelt as well. So we can start blowing up their random, artifacts. Next up, we have another thing that makes use of our treasure tokens. We got Gadra, the Crown-Scourge. He's a 3-drop 5/4 flying. Whenever he attacks, you can only attack with him if you control 4 or more artifacts. He can block if you don't control those artifacts. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. So if we steal a creature and then sacrifice it, we're going to get a treasure token. And then therefore, hopefully turn on Gadra. Next up, Gadra can be found with Magda, Brazen Outlaw, sacrifice 5 treasures, search your library for an artifact or dragon card. And it says whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure token. So if she goes attacking, we can get treasure tokens off of her. Next up, we have another thing that we can search with Magda, and that's Steel Hellkite. Steel Hellkite can be, Magda puts it into play. Steel Hellkite will destroy problem permanents with that X, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value X whose controller was dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. Activate only once each turn. This is just like a catch-all. We need answers to these things. So very, very, very useful. Next up, let us look. We have ways of upgrading Ragavan himself. So if we're constantly dashing him out, it would be nice to have a bigger creature, especially later in the game. So Hero's Blade is just like a 2-drop equipment that says equipped creature gets +3/+2, so making Ragavan a 5/3. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach Hero's Blade to it. So we're always going to get to dash our commander out and make him a 5/3 for 2 mana, which is super useful, super powerful. Then Another way we can upgrade it is, like, for instance, Idol of Oblivion. Whenever we're dealing combat damage with Ragavan, we're creating a treasure token. So this says tap, draw card, activate only if you've created a token this turn. So this is going to be just consistent card draw for us in one of the many ways that we have creating tokens. Then we also have things like Goblin Tunneler. We have several of these. We have about 4 cards that do this. It says tap, target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. So we can make sure that we connect with our Ragavan. And there's an enchantment that also kind of goes with that, with break through the line. It says target creature with power 2 or less gains haste until end of turn. It can't be blocked. So if we hard cast Ragavan, we can swing immediately with him, and then he gets haste as well. Guys, this is like such a fun deck. I really enjoyed putting it together. I love it. There's some really cool tricks in here, like more ways of dealing damage, more sacrifice outlets. We have a really big mana card here in, what do you call it? Where did I put it? We have a really big mana card with Mana Geyser here. It's a 5-drop. 2 red, 3 colors. Add 1 red for each tap land your opponent's control. So this can allow for some really big turns, guys. Like, every time I cast this, I get at least 10 mana off of it, and so I can cast big, stupid things. I really love this card. It gives you a chance to just do the stupid, really fun turns. And anyway, guys, I think this is it. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and share the channel. We're trying to grow as much as we can. Love you guys. You guys have a great day. Deuces.